afternoon. My name is Gary Roybal, and I'm a call maker from San Alfonso Pueblo, New Mexico. These are my calls, and my company's name is MMGK Game Kalls. These calls originated in the Manzano Mountains, where I had gotten my first piece of cedar from that mountain and was challenged to make a call out of that piece of wood. And that was 1999. So with that first call, it turned into all of this right here. So we have different styles of calls, which I will run through in just a bit. I just wanted to introduce myself, and we'll start with some of the calls being used, run through some of the sounds each one makes, and we'll do call maintenance as well, and then we'll do a little bit of history about the calls themselves. Here we have a scratch box. This is a small little call, great little pocket call. I'm going to put a little bit of chalk on this, and any color chalk. I like to use Crayola chalk. What we're doing is making sure that we have a little bit of friction on that striker. So this is what I call my striker, and this is a little box here. This here happens to be alligator juniper and a little bit of red cedar, but most of it is alligator juniper. And what I'm doing is I'm having the striker in the palm of my hand, a middle finger, and I'm making a little cut, so that way it doesn't move around too much, and also that helps the sound kind of emanate from your little cup here. I'm taking my call here and I'm putting 2 fingers on the bottom and 1 up on top. You don't want to hinder any of this wood on this side, because if you do, it's going to kind of have a muffled sound. Here, when you have it free, it's able to vibrate just a little more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across, and while I'm doing that, I'm making a little hook with my wrist in order to cover that full sound. You get the high end as well as the crossover, and the little raspiness at the end. And each one of the calls that are made with a different material is going to have a different sound. Alligator juniper tends to be on the raspy side. So something like this, I would use maybe chasing Rio Grande turkeys, because they like that really raspy sounding call. I've tried several different types when I was hunting, but it just seems to be a raspiness that they like. So this is a nice little scratch box, real easy to transport, but it has some great sounds with it. There you go. Here we have a slate call with a alligator juniper striker. This one here, what you're doing is you're having the striker on top of the surface of the slate, and you're going to make contact. And we don't want to put a lot of pressure on this, because all you want to do is start off with just a couple sounds. What I like to do is I have a nice little circle motion. Same with the scratch box. You want to have the high end as well as the low end. They call the crossover. Then we'll do a couple clucks and puts. A little bit of cutting. Can get a little louder. This one tends to be a nice high sounding call, matched with the alligator juniper striker. The body is alligator juniper with a little bit of red cedar. So that combination has a nice high pitch to it. So I'll be using this probably early in the morning to try and locate, maybe on a windy day, because you have nice high tones. You also have some of the softer talk. And there we have it. We have a slate call here. And this one happens to have an antelope right on the back side that I put on with my wood burner. Some of them have real simple designs, but this one has a special meaning. This is just to commemorate lucky number 7. And that's the name of the antelope that we've been after for a few years. So some of these calls do have a little bit of a history to them. Here we have a single-sided box call. What this does is it's only able to operate on one of the sides here. It has a stopper, and it's a little smaller of a call because we want to have a nice high end as well as a raspy sound to this. So the lid is a piece of alligator juniper, and the side is also it's juniper as well. It's yellow juniper, and in the middle are 2 little blocks which are red cedar. So what this does is you're trying to create a sound from a lot of the combinations of wood. So this one happens to be a nice raspy sounding call. So I'm going to run a few yelps and I'll do some cutting and see what else that we can do. And as for this one, all you're doing is just hitting that lid against the side that's vibrating, that's the sound that you hear, but that stopper does most of the work. So every time you do a yelp or move that lid, you have a full range. You have the high end as well as that low raspy end. And what I'm cutting, I'm actually just kind of cutting down into the side to kind of hit that side, so that way you have a nice little quick tap. And you can run just about this call any way that you want. Sometimes you can come from the bottom. It's just up to you, just what you want to do with the call. It's pretty much a musical instrument. And that's each call you're trying to learn how to play the specific sound that you want to get. So this is a short box, and here we have a double-sided box. This is a little bigger box. This one here, you have 2 sides for the call. And each one of those sides has a different sound. One side is alligator juniper, the other side is that yellow juniper. The lid happens to be alligator juniper as well, and the bottom is red cedar. So this combination is pretty much going to give you a nice raspy sounding call. So we'll run this a little bit, do a couple yelps and maybe some cutting. So you can hear that really raspy sound on this left side of the call, and the other side has a pretty raspy sound as well. It's a little deeper. Those reels should really like this. Another advantage of having a double-sided call, and most of these calls are able to do this, is have a rubber band that you place right at the tail end of that handle. And what you're going to do is make sure you have a nice stretched out rubber band, and you're going to grip that bottom here. You have to grip it a little firm because I've launched a few myself when I was practicing. So we're going to start here just like a turkey. You want to start up here and then end down at the bottom. So I'm going to have this motion that I'm going to come from the top and then end up on the bottom. And that's how you have a box that can gobble just like a turkey. Here we have a wing bone, and these are the oldest form of turkey calls besides using your natural voice. And what we're doing is you're using this call almost like a straw. You're drawing in the air, and you're going to place it in the middle of your lip here in order to have a seal when you put your top lip over it, and you're going to draw in the air. And while you're drawing in the air, you're using your hands to cup in order to create like a little vortex, and that's what's going to help you create the sounds. So what I'm doing is I'm placing it on either side of my mouth, and I'm going to be making these little smacking sounds, like kissing noises. And so what we're going to do is going to place that on the side, and I'm going to run through some of the calls here. I'm going to do some yelps. So this call is a really loud call. You can get a lot softer, but I really like it as a locator call. If I'm in the Rio Grande area here and I want to see if there's anything down the road, I'll hit this call. Maybe after they fly down, this is a good locator call because it's really loud. Also in the mountains, this is one to use in the morning trying to locate birds after they've gotten off of the roost. And I always have a wing bone with me, and I believe this one happens to be a Rio Grande bird from a few years ago. Here we have another one, which is a little different. This one has a wood bottom here, and this one's off of a Merriam. This is one of our Merriam birds that we were able to harvest with a client last year, and this one just has a little different sound. You run a few of the sounds here. Little more higher pitch. It's from a younger bird, but the sound that changes, the thing that changes it is the wood bottom. So I got to do a little bit of the kiki call there, did some higher end yelp, but also finished with some lower yelps there as well. So I like to have something like this as well, because the sounds are really great. The last of the air operated calls is what I call my game slayer. And what this is, it's off the design of the wing bone. But with this one here, it's two pieces of wood that are glued together and shaped in a way that you're producing almost the same thing as those, like a little straw. And so what you're doing is you're inhaling that air, and with this it produces higher sounds. So I'm able to create higher pitches with these. So I'll run through some of the sounds that I can make with this, and you're doing the same thing as the wing bones. You're drawing in the air, creating that little airflow, and you're going to use your hands in order to create those higher or lower volumes of the call. So let me run through some of these here. I'll start with a turkey and then I'll go after that. So we ran through a few sounds, turkeys, we did some elk sounds, we did some predator sounds there, and this is a little more versatile because it has a higher pitch to it. It just takes quite a bit of practice to get to make those sounds. And here we have just dressed it up a little bit. It has a little nugget of turquoise and a little bit of wood burn designs on there. And a lot of these calls I use a finish so that way it seals up a lot of the wood, but also brings out the grain in a lot of the wood. And that is my game slayer. Here we have some calls that are out of the collector series by Manzana Madness. We have different styles. We have long boxes. We have a short box here. We have some slate calls here. Some we have inlaid with turquoise and a few other different stones. This is just to showcase a lot of the ideas as well as a lot of the experiences I've had out in the field, either hunting or just cruising the back roads. All the things that we see out there I want to commemorate. So this is where this starts to come in. A lot of them have traditional designs that have a lot of meaning to where I'm from. We have a lot of these animals that we hold really dear and sacred to our heart, and a lot of times, you know, I want to commemorate that and add that and add a special touch to some of the calls that I make. So I'm going to run through a few of them. We'll get a little bit of the shots here and some sounds. This one here has a few pieces of turquoise in there, red cedar as well as the yellow cedar. This one happens to have an antelope, a male and a female. And this is a really nice raspy sounding call. really like that sound in the beginning, and that's why I decided to put some extra work into that one. Here we have another one. It's a little shorter box. This one has quite a few turquoise nuggets in there. We have some designs on there as well as the bottom. On the top you have a strutting turkey, and on the side you also have a few more stones and another strutting turkey there. And I like the sound of this one because it has a nice red cedar lid as well as a juniper side, and that has a nice high and raspy sound to it. One of my favorite sounding calls. Here's another one. We have another strutting turkey on the lid. A few more designs on there on the bottom. And sometimes that's how I shoot my bows, is with that crooked arrow, because a lot of times I'm missing my target. We also have another turkey on there as well. So I like this one as well because it has a yellow juniper lid as well as a red cedar side. It's a nice raspy sounding call. Also has a little turquoise nugget in there as well. Last of the long boxes, same combination. We have the Turk Slayer logo on the side, and then we have some other designs here which I've seen on a pottery, as well as a mule deer and a whitetail on the lid, and another turquoise nugget on there. I'm going to run this a few. This is more like a raspier jake yelp or a gobbler yelp, but you also have a nice gobble out of there as well. Here we have a few more that have a few more designs. We have a Coues deer, Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep, and another antelope. Slate on these calls, same thing, we're going to make contact. This one happens to be pear wood. Nice hardwood here. We have a red cedar with a ram and a turquoise inlay on there. And the last one here, we have an antelope. Same thing as a slate on the other side. It's a really nice sounding call there. The last two that we have are both air operated calls. This is a double reek duck call made with red cedar, little Duck Slayer logo, but 3 inlaid stones in there. Same thing, it's air operated. What you're going to do is you're blowing into it. This is a double reek call. The last one we have here is made from antler. We have whitetail antler, and then we have a mule deer antler tip. In the middle is black walnut, and the other piece of wood is pear. And we have a few inlaid stones in there. This one here is reverse. What you're going to do is you're going to draw in the air. You're going to create the sound with that. So a few different sounds out of this call here. It's one of my favorite just because it looks cool. Here we have one of the first calls that I modeled a lot of my slates off of. This is from my father-in-law. His name is Eddie Manhohola. He's from Isleta Pueblo. And he kind of asked me to challenge myself one day in order to start making calls. We went for wood one day up in the mountains here, and he was showing me his collection. And so this was one of them that he showed me, and this is a piece of old chalkboard, and because it had slate on there, he was making calls, and this is one of the first ones that he's ever made. I don't know how old this call is, but I still use it to this day. This is oak here, and like I said, this is from a chalkboard that came from the old Indian school that was in Albuquerque. So this has a lot of history in it. Here we have a striker, and I'm going to have some of the sounds, real soft sounds, kind of hollow sounding. Some really cool history behind a lot of these calls. And if it wasn't for Ed, I wouldn't be doing what I do today. So I get to pass along a lot of that knowledge that he taught me, but also inspire the next generation of hunters and fishermen and women and children, and encourage people to get out there and be creative, and also to keep our huntings and tradition of hunting alive by passing it down. So I thank him, and I thank my family for letting me do what I do. If it wasn't for my wife Trish and my kids and my family, I wouldn't be able to enjoy this outdoors. I wouldn't have met the people that I've met that encouraged me to get where I am. I wouldn't have met John Rudder here and the rest of the crew. We won't be doing this if it wasn't for a lot of people. And so I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I have and that have come across me, and I'm still doing this, and hopefully until I get old and gray I'll be doing this. And to have people around me that challenge me and support me is a really great thing. So thank you for listening, and hopefully you learned a little something today. And I thank HDO Outdoors and John Rudder and everybody else that we have on the crew, Santa Fe Guiding Company, all my brothers and sisters in the outdoor world, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to give this little demonstration of some of my calls. Thank you.